What's up, everybody? Super Mike. This is going to be a relationship building topic, and it is something I've just been dwelling on. I was on a panel a couple days ago with some very intelligent sisters and a couple brothers, very intelligent people, and we had some subjects and topics, a few disputes, but guess what? It was overall, in my opinion, a very informative conversation. And what got me to thinking off of that subject, and another thing, there's a couple things. We have very close friends. I got very close friends, who they're having trouble with the concept of marriage because they're engaged in a marriage, and they're having trouble with this concept. And a lot of people cop out and say, well, marriage is not for everybody. Nothing is for everybody. Come on now. Marriage. We're talking about marriage. If you're engaged in a marriage or a relationship, a committed relationship, if you want someone to commit to you, you have to submit yourself to committing to the process of being in a committed relationship. Now, we are all, and what's important, what I want to kind of highlight on, of course, this topic is something to go on forever, but I don't want to be that long on it. I just want to highlight on the value of always, just re-questioning the foundation of your concept. Yeah, the concepts that we hold. Think about them. Test them. Verify that they are functional concepts. And we have to do this, especially black people. All people, really, but especially black people. We have to always question, test the foundation of our concepts. And don't settle on a concept just because you think it's better. Like some people have this idea, marriage isn't for everyone, and therefore marriage is not for me. No, because a lot of times we want the benefits of a marriage, but we didn't do the work. We didn't do the work to earn those benefits. Let me tell you some of the benefits of a marriage. Number one, benefits of a marriage. It further develops. If you submit to the process of a real marriage, it allows another person to critique. And if you submit to that process, then you could develop yourself as a human being, because you're not focused on finding new source of mating. Because one of the things that nature has put inside the human being, the average human being, is the desire and the urge for sex. It's a sexual urge. And it's not just sexual only, but it is sexual, but there's a desire for companionship, right? And so unmarried people were often going out to try to it's basically a spinning wheel, meeting, sex, and then, cutting off. Then you got to start that process over again, meeting. See, so there's a lot of energy. There's a lot of thought. There's a lot of engagement. Now, some people think, there's a freedom there. But this is an unstable foundation, right? It's an unstable foundation because there's never anything to invest in. There's no legacy. There's There's no legacy in always starting over and over and over again, right? There's no legacy in that. There's really not. Uh, so the ability to build a legacy, to self-develop, and to focus your energy on bigger projects, right? And also, if you do the process correctly and pick someone who you can work with and reason with, then what you end up doing is you have a partner in most of the endeavors that you would otherwise be diverting energy, maintaining life. You have a partner in maintaining life, and it makes it easier to do other things, to do bigger things. Now, I'm not saying that people can't do bigger things, but it's easier. Also, especially for men, marriage keeps us out of a lot of traps. It keeps us out of a lot of traps, a lot of social traps. And depending on what your life engagement is, as far as what you're doing in life and things like that, you could be vulnerable because of, like, especially, just as a man, if we're doing the marriage right and we're staying true and submitting to the process, then we really don't have a real need to be going out finding others, right? And then these others, you don't know them. You're exposing yourself every time. You're exposing yourself to a new personality, a new history. Even if you don't get all deep into whoever this is, that person has a history, they have desires, they have issues, right? And so those are a couple benefits of a marriage, and of course, children. Now, what I'm seeing is we have a trend here. We have our people, especially the black people and the so-called intelligent people, and I call them so-called intelligent because a lot of times, we have a definition of success that this world has given us, and a lot of times some of us who are successful, we get arrogant. The education in American society, it makes people arrogant. Oh, I have a degree. I respect success. I'm looking at success. Success means function, production. I want to see what you produced. And I'll say, wow, I can respect that person. Because they have a step-by-step. Now, I don't want to see a paper. I don't want to see a paper. Books are fine, but we need to make sure whoever wrote those books is producing life, happiness. You see what I'm saying? Harmony. This is what we're looking for when we look and judge success. A tree is judged by the fruit it bears. Electrician, you can't say that you're an electrician, but every time you come over here, we can't get the lights on. You can't tell me you're a plumber, and every time you come, you're making the leak bigger. Can't tell me that you an auto mechanic, but every time I bring the car to you, it's more shit wrong with it. I don't care how many papers in school you have if we're not getting success, right? If we're not getting success. So I said all that to say this. When we're looking at marriage, when we're looking at relationships, period, especially a high-level relationship like a marriage, if we look at human society, we look at what communities have built, the high level of power, the high levels of influence, the highest levels of refinement that black people envy. We tend to envy those who have good homes, those who have friendships, those who have legacies that are transferred and inheritance. We tend to envy those who have, family acquaintances that they can do business with. We tend to envy people who have companies who they're hiring their brothers, they're hiring their cousins, and these people have a level of stability that black folks dream of. Family, the ability to keep family around, to be around people, to grow with people, and to gain trust. That comes from marriage. That is the foundation. When you're with someone, the problems and the personality disputes that you guys have, the work and the pain and the irritation that you have in trying, you're supposed to be trying to reconcile those disputes. But black folks, we tend to want to run away because there's a legacy and a history of escaping. You know, massa beating me too hard, let's try to run away from the plantation. This neighborhood's bad, let's run away from the neighborhood. This is bad, run away, run. There's no stability. You're a damn a vagabond. You're a nomad. You're not building. You're not staking your claim and fighting, for what is yours, your territory. You see, so that is some of the concepts that I wanted to get into, and we got to look at what I wanted to get into too. So this is that. I say that to say this. We got to understand that if we want something, it's going to take work. Stop talking about what other people have going wrong with them. Try to get it yourself into a solutions mindset. It takes study. You can't accomplish the type of emotional maturity that it takes to deal with other people's issues and then deal with your own at the same time if you're not studying. If you refuse to study, you're doing yourself a disservice, and you're doing your children, and you're destroying your legacy. This is all this is including its happiness, its money, its property. All of this is dealing with marriage. Look, if you can get your marriage successful, meaning that you guys can harmonize with each other and you can laugh with each other and you're trusting each other. So it's not just staying there and looking at each other sideways and just not leaving. No, it's actually being friends, being happy with each other. And if you can get your situation like that, money happens. There's a lot of opportunities that happen just with a great partner because things are easier. Things are much easier to do. And then when you produce children, your children are partners because they grow up knowing a stable situation. They grow up knowing you have more influence in your children's lives. This is valuable. So when you die, you have a better chance at leaving legacy. Because see, we all die physically. Why do I care about that? Bruh, that allows you to never die. You know what I mean? That allows you to extend your influence beyond the grave. It allows you greatness. That's right. We're talking about people like Harriet Tubman. We're talking about people like Frederick Douglass. We're talking about people like Shaka Zulu. We're talking about people like Imhotep. We're talking about people, these are people who were so great, they extended their influence beyond the grave. And there's many people in many families that have done that. But, what we want to do is we want to try to develop the emotional maturity and the wisdom to be able to deal with each other. And it doesn't just happen. You have to learn. You have to read books. You have to study other successful relationships, and you have to study failures, why people are failing. The number one reason what I've seen is people are failing because they don't want to admit to themselves that there's something that they could do better. Number one, we have to understand that there's a lot we have to know ourselves. We have to know our particular personality, and then we have to look into the world and see our near personalities that's close to ours, and then we have to see them in success situations, and we have to see them maybe in unsuccessful situations. And we want to do this prior to us being scarred by a bad relationship. Once you've been scarred by at least a couple bad relationships, from what I've seen, it is very hard without some type of therapy to heal and to begin to trust again, to put that, because you can't have a good relationship without trust. Can't have that a really good one. You have to trust this person. You have to trust them. And so, that's just some concepts I want to put out there. There's people out here that's single, but they're hurting inside. And there's people out here married, arguing with each other, hurting. And that, even when you're married, there's people who they don't respect their own situation. People out here with good partners, but there's some people out here with loyal spouses, working spouses, people who love their children, spouses who are raising their children, paying the bills. There's people out here who don't appreciate who they're with because there's probably some issues. We have to learn how to deal with the issues of our spouse. And not just tolerate the issues of our spouse. We have to learn psychologically. You got to sit there. You actually have to learn. You actually have to study psychology concepts. Because these concepts you would have learned if you've seen your parents grow up with a stable household. You would have seen the techniques. Oh, that's how mama deals with daddy. Oh, that's how daddy deals with mama. You would have seen it. But if you didn't see that, you're going to have a problem. And you're going to have a problem understanding the value. You're going to feel trapped. And when you feel trapped, you set yourself up to self-sabotage. You self-sabotage your situation for no logical reason. And it's really because of a internal pain that you refuse to look at. There's some people that if they simply admit, because they are so convinced of their correctness, they are so convinced, but that they are so correct and they have not done anything wrong, and they are not doing anything wrong. They're so convinced that everyone else, all men are dogs, all women, it's American women. American women ain't shit. The black women ain't shit. We come up with these different labels to demonize other people. But you got to realize, especially in black America, we all have problems, big gigantic problems. And the institution of family could help us focus ourselves to solve those problems. Because some of these problems must be solved in order to be happy. And you have another outside person that's there looking at, wow, you got an issue here. But if you don't have that thing that's called commitment is more important than love. I'm going to say that again. Commitment is more important than love. Commitment is more important than love. Commitment. Because just like you commit to go out there and get some money to sustain your life, just like you committed to go to school to get your degree, when you commit to a relationship, the person is just like, now this is what I will learn from Will and Jada. We have to understand that just because we get married or we get into a committed relationship, that is still a completely separate human being. They're not separate because they've made a commitment to you, and it's not to you, it's just to the relationship. And it's a commitment to God. And that's the reason why you say God, because it's bigger than just that individual. Your commitment to the process is bigger than just submitting to that person. It is submitting to the process of being happy within a institution of a marriage and family and building of a legacy, right? So, but that person is still a different human being, and they have the ability to make choices. So we want to be understanding, and we want to, but at the same time, you have to allow room for that person to do their growth within the context of the marriage or the committed relationship. So it's got to be more important for the person to be happy. And when I say happy, I mean they need to learn what their issue is so that they can get past that. Because a lot of times people feel that they're in a marriage and it's restricting them. And there are restrictions, but there are restrictions from everything, There's a certain restriction, in every situation. If you want to live, there's a restriction. Don't jump off of bridges. Maybe you want to jump off the bridge, but if you want to live, you're restricted from doing that, right? So, the thing is, though, a lot of times we think that's what I mean by restriction. So within the context of your marriage, depending on your person, you have to try to let that person have the room to grow, and you want to try to grow with people, but at the same time, they have to let you have the room to grow, but we don't want to grow apart. So we want to include, we want to talk to people. We never want to be someone's parents. I'm not your mama, your daddy. I'm not checking behind you. You don't have no reason to lie to me, hide nothing from me. A person should be able to tell you the truth. Dang, I've been having problems because right now I'm not happy in the marriage. You think it's the marriage? Because, I don't hold nobody back from nothing. If you want to go do something, you want to travel somewhere, what you want to do? Want to go to school? What you want to do? What is there to... Everybody has to continue to self-develop themselves. You become unhappy when you're not developing yourself and your emotional maturity, your whole life. You have to continuously develop. And if someone is suppressing your ability to develop in a righteous manner, maybe that is a problem. So that's what I mean. So a marriage should not suppress development in a righteous manner. But at the same time, you can't, if someone is allowing that development and they're not restricting you, you can't blame them. Now, if you just want to hoe around, being a hoe, sleeping with other people never has brought happiness. That's not going to do anything but expose the family to problems. So there is a restriction there. You don't need to, if that's what you need to do, maybe marriage is not for you at that time. But, it's kind of fucking selfish if you've been in the marriage for a good 10, 15 years and you started to build the legacy and all of a sudden you decide you want to hoe around. Some people can handle that. Maybe you do need to just go ahead and get a divorce and then maybe figure that out. You see what I'm saying? But that is pretty selfish because, we all are going to pass away. But when we building a marriage, just like that's almost like you're buying a house and you paid the house off for 15 years and you got the house all down and you still have the money to pay the house, but you decide I don't want to live here anymore and you throw away all the equity in the house. That's what you're doing when you just up and decide to be selfish and, destroy the legacy for a biological or some type of mental deficiency because you feel that you've missed out on something sexually or something. these type of issues we have to study, self-study. And that's why I said it takes a lot of, because especially in Black America, we've been exposed to some really hard trauma. We've been exposed to some really hard trauma. We got a lot of dysfunctional concepts that we truly believe that is so real and so good. But these concepts, these are what is destroying our ability to hold and build power and legacy. And the proof of that is our ability we can't even stay together. It's really not that hard. That is like your kindergarten, to be able to find a respectable mate and to be able to make a friend. That's like kindergarten, to be able to make a friend and stick with that friend. That's all you're doing. You're making a friend. Now, when you start to become somebody's parent, like a lot of brothers out here, they don't want to, you start dictating terms. The Black woman, she downloads ideas from the universe too, visions. The man supposed to be a visionary, but really I look at it as the masculine and the feminine energy in the universe. The male body is supposed to be the best conductor of masculine energy, because we have the testosterone to express supposedly the aggressive situation to express and to get these masculine energies expressed. And the female has the estrogen levels to be able to express the feminine energy. But men have estrogen and women have testosterone. And we both have the ability to express both energies. Now, that doesn't make a person gay, or it doesn't make the person physically gay, but it just means that we're going to have these traits. When people say the protector and the provider, there's a lot of women out here that's providing. It's supposed to be a masculine, trait, but they're out there providing. But it's nothing evil about, it's nothing evil about that. It's nothing suppressive about that. That's just ability that the women have. And there's a lot of nurturing men. There's a lot of men that are nurturing. Okay. It's supposedly a feminine trait, but it's something that men can do. It doesn't make a person gay on either way, or it doesn't make, so this is what I'm saying. So we need to understand that, we have to really kind of question our thinking, because we're looking for functional processes, and we got to stop taking ourselves so seriously as if we cannot be wrong. Humble yourself. Find a solution. Be solution oriented. Study. If you're having a problem, if you're feeling a problem like you're just irritating, don't put the focus and blame on your spouse. Sometimes it's not their fault, because a lot of times they're reacting to your energy, and it may not all be your fault. You see? So all that's back and forth. It takes study, just keep working at it. Everybody, put your thoughts and comments down. Peace out. Super Mike is out. I just want us to be happy, learn to love, grow, develop yourself, develop your children, create a stable household, a family. Learn the lessons on how to create stability. Number one, it comes with family. Trust. We have to learn how to trust each other. And don't be threatened by the beauty of each other's ideas. You see? So let's work with each other. Super Mike out, y'all. Peace.